On behalf of Prospective Consultancy, I would like to present the roadmap for our market analysis process for our client, Teletech. I'll be going through the basic scenario, the data cleaning, as well as the MDP and MRQ. Rebecca will then talk about Research Objective 1, Joanne, Research Objective 2, Alice, Research Objective 3, and then Miriam will talk about Research Objective 4. So the basic scenario is that Teletech is a leading customer service-based call center seeking to expand globally. It's concerned with managing the market, it's relatively strategic in nature, and it wants to continue maximizing customer satisfaction worldwide. Prospective Consultancy will undertake the market analysis process based on the data that was collected. So we want to determine a comprehensive profile of the type of service representatives that should be hired in both Asian and non-Asian countries. Basic overview of the data, we observed that it was divided into three main sections. First was the respondents' characteristics with things like demographics, age, gender, educational qualifications. The second was the respondents' opinions about particular things such as hierarchies. And the third was their opinion about the service they received from the service representatives. So some basic observations is males were 44.6% of the data set, 55.4% for females. 18 to 25-year-olds were 84.2%, full-time students 51.1%, and Asians 37.3%, and non-Asians 62.3%. So this showed that the data set was skewed towards uni students who were most likely the respondents of the data set. Before we could conduct the market analysis process, we needed to clean up the data. So the first out of four things that we did is we removed the decimal places from the scale variables just to make it a bit neater. The second is we recoded the country of origin by region into a binary variable, one being Asian and two being non-Asian. The third thing we did is we corrected the type of data as some of them were incorrect. So for example, age was changed to an ordinal variable, overall satisfaction was changed to a scale variable, employment status ordinal, and so forth. We also removed any respondents who did not select strongly disagree to the attentive question, mainly because they would make some of our conclusions invalid or unreliable. So this reduced our sample size from 2,471 to 1,830. We then articulated our management decision problem and market research question from where we developed our research objectives. So our MDP is, as the business expands into Asian and non-Asian countries, what type of service representatives should be hired in order to maximize customer satisfaction? And our market research question is, how will race, service representative attributes, customer demographics, and personal opinions impact the overall satisfaction with the service? And how will this impact the type of representatives that should be hired in various countries?
The first research objective is to determine if the race of the service representative combined with the race of the customer has an impact on the overall satisfaction of the respondent. Primarily, it is reasonable to identify the effect that a matching race service experience or a mixed race service experience has on the respondent's overall satisfaction. This is due to the fact that Teletech considers expanding into both Asian and non-Asian countries, where many of these countries have diverse cultural background. Gaining some understanding of this will yield race-based information which can be applied into the recruitment and selection process. In order to do this, we have proposed to conduct differential analysis, that is a one-way ANOVA test. The main reasons for this include, firstly, we are trying to determine if there are differences between groups. There are four groups and they are: number one, an Asian service representative and a non-Asian customer; number two, a non-Asian service representative and a non-Asian customer; number three, an Asian service representative and an Asian customer; and lastly, a non-Asian service representative and an Asian customer. Another reason why we chose the ANOVA test is because there are more than two groups being examined in regards to the scale variable of interest, which is overall satisfaction. As a result, the null hypothesis would be overall satisfaction of the services received does not differ depending on the race of the service representative and the customer, while the alternate hypothesis would be overall satisfaction of the service received differs depending on the race of the service representative and the customer. By conducting these tests, it reveals if race of the service representative plays an influential factor on the overall satisfaction of the respondent. Given the answer to this, Teletech managers and the human resource team can identify the most suitable race of the service representative to be hired for selective Asian and non-Asian countries. For example, if an Asian customer prefers non-Asian service representatives, then it is more beneficial for Teletech to employ a non-Asian service representative in an Asian country. Furthermore, Teletech managers can create robotic receivers or phone servers to direct an Asian or non-Asian service representative to assist the caller based on the compatibility of having a matching race or different races. This reduces time and the possibility of having conflicting cultural values and will also maximize satisfaction amongst customers. Consequently, continuing with the previous example, if an Asian customer called the robotic receiver may ask a few simple questions before redirecting the customer to the appropriate non-Asian service representative, as the Asian customer prefers non-Asian service representative to assist them.
Our second research objective is to analyze which attributes of a service representative are valued by customers. For this objective, the best way to analyze it would be multivariate analysis. So primarily, we would run a multiple linear regression on the overall satisfaction of respondents against a number of perceived characteristics of service representatives. The independent variable being overall satisfaction and dependent variables being the 7 service representative attributes, which include seemed rude, gave personalized service, personal human touch, sounded happy, attentive, insincere, and arrogant. These characteristics are understood to be determinants of the overall satisfaction with the service, hence being valuable to customers. We use multiple linear regression as it allows us to observe the causal relationship between scalar variables being overall satisfaction and representative attributes. Our H null will be that there is no relationship between overall satisfaction and the attributes of service representatives, where all betas are equal to 0, and a H alternate would be that there is a relationship between overall satisfaction and the service representative attributes, so that all betas are not equal to 0. The results from this test will allow us to understand which characteristics contribute to increasing or reducing overall satisfaction. Another reason why linear regression is used is because it enables us to compare service representative attributes against one another and highlights which ones have the most influence and impact on overall satisfaction. The test also enables us to make assumptions on each characteristic, that each characteristic does not correlate with one another, which gives us predictive powers when creating strategies when looking at coefficients of each variable. As variables are independent from one another, strategies can be established that would help heighten overall satisfaction in customers by focusing on the most important attributes. Since the attitude of service representatives influences a customer's satisfaction with service, having a grasp on the characteristics which are valuable to respondents enables managers to place greater focus on these and ultimately increase the respondents' level of satisfaction with service that is received, giving them a more positive experience. By identifying characteristics of a desired service representative, managers will be able to identify certain attributes that they would like to look for when hiring employees. In order for Teletech to succeed, they would hire individuals that portray particular attributes as outlined in the test. Furthermore, by knowing what attributes are valuable to customers, Teletech can establish training and performance evaluation meters that would measure the desired attributes in service representatives, which would encourage them to continue to portray this and ultimately establish better service overall.
The third research objective is to investigate the demographics of the respondents and the effects this had on their overall satisfaction. In order to do this, the demographic factors of gender, age, education qualification, and employment status were tested against overall satisfaction, using either independence t-tests or one-way ANOVAs. An independent t-test on gender was decided because these t-tests examine differences between two groups that are mutually exclusive. In this case, we are assuming that males and females are two separate populations. Furthermore, in order to conduct an independent t-test, one variable must be nominal. In this case, gender is considered to be a nominal variable, while the other variable must be scale. Respondents are rated overall satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 7, so overall satisfaction is considered to be a scale variable. Therefore, the null hypothesis for this test is males and females do not differ in respect to overall satisfaction, while the alternate hypothesis is males and females do differ in respect to overall satisfaction. As seen in this slide, the other three demographic factors, age, education, and employment, will be examined using three ANOVAs, one for each of the factors. ANOVA will be used because each factor has more than two categories being tested against a scale variable, that is, overall satisfaction. For age, there are 5 categories: less than 18, 18 to 25, 26 to 40, 41 to 55, and over 55. For education, there were 5 categories: postgraduate, bachelor's including honors, diploma and vocational qualifications, year 12 and under year 12. For employment status, there are 6 categories: full-time, part-time, homemaker, full-time student, retired, and unemployed. Furthermore, although the categories in each factor are ordinal, they are assumed to be scaled in order to conduct an ANOVA. Thus, since we are testing to see if categories have the same average values, the null hypothesis for these 2 factors is all means are equal, while the alternate hypothesis is at least one mean is different. In the dataset, there are also 2 other demographic factors: the number of people in the family and the relationship status. These 2 variables were decided to not be tested because they were considered to be irrelevant to the overall aim of improving recruitment and the type of service representatives that should be hired. By conducting an independent t-test and one-way ANOVA on the demographic factors, management can deduce which factors are significant or will have an impact on overall satisfaction. From there, they can examine which categories within each factor are important or significant, and thus be able to develop different strategies to cater for different demographic groups. For example, if an independent t-test showed that gender is significant and males agreed more than females on overall satisfaction, then after completing another test to see which features males were most satisfied with, managers can direct their promotional activities into those areas. Furthermore, managers can also hire service representatives based on those features. Thus, it gives managers direction while also assisting to efficiently and effectively allocate resources into areas that will achieve the greatest benefit.
Our 4th market research objective is to determine if respondents' personal opinions affect their overall satisfaction with the service. A firm's ability is dependent on the level of customer service it offers to consumers. Therefore, for Teletech to successfully expand into Asian or non-Asian countries, it must identify key factors contributing to overall satisfaction. However, each individual is unique, and their values vary depending on their personal opinions and attitudes. By analyzing the respondents' personal opinions and their impact on their overall satisfaction, we can identify which personal beliefs will enable Teletech to maximize customer service and ensure successful expansion of the business. To do so, we will conduct a predictive analysis using multivariate linear regression. The rationale behind this is 1. We are using sample data to reflect the population, and 2. We are extracting information from our existing dataset to explore causal relationships and make predictions on the impact of personal opinions on the overall customer service. The aim of conducting this test is to understand which independent variables are related to the dependent variables and the impact they have at 95% significance level. Therefore, we will set our dependent variable as the overall satisfaction with the service, and our independent variables will include respondents' opinions on hierarchies, rules and regulations, working in groups, work difference between men and women, and importance of planning and hard work contributing to success. Overall satisfaction of the service has been selected as our dependent variable because it is our study of interest and with which we intend to measure changes and make predictions and estimates on. Our independent variables will be changed intentionally to measure and observe changes in the dependent variable. We've chosen the mentioned variables to be our independent variables because they are subjected to the personal opinions and beliefs of the respondents. Therefore, this allows us to effectively look into our fourth marketing research objective. One of the biggest concerns conducting this analysis is the limited representation of the entire population. Being skewed towards respondents between the ages of 18 and 25. As mentioned earlier by Esraa, 82.4% of the sample are individuals within this age group, and this may not truly represent the entire population outside this range. However, this can be easily corrected by surveying a wider variety of individuals. But despite all this, Perspective Consultancy is confident that our analysis will assist Teletech's business expansion regardless.
Our team from Perspective Consultancy has now presented you with our 4 research objectives and methods. We will now conduct these tests and present Teletech with our findings, recommendations, the limitations we face, as well as the corrective methods.